Hello students, today we have got history lecture. In the last week, we did lesson number 3 and that is applied history. So in that chapter, we discuss what is applied history. Then we seen researches in various fields. In that we have discussed what was philosophy. Then we seen science, technology, industry and commerce, then management studies, arts, humanities. Today we'll discuss something more. Now, in your textbook, come to page number 17. In your textbook, page number 17, 3.3, applied history and the present. So, the topic itself tells us applied history and the present means how we are going to use the knowledge of applied history in present situation. That is what situation we have today. So, the knowledge of history, how we are going to use. Now, please pay attention. People often ask about practical value of history. Now, what do you mean practical value? What value this subject of history has, or why we study history, or why we study applied history, and how we are going to implement in the present situation. The answer to the question about the nature of applied history answers this question as well. The visible and invisible. Now, what do you mean by visible? What we can see. And invisible means things which we are not able to see. Relics. The visible and invisible relics. Relics means what? An object from an earlier time. Okay. Something which was pertaining to past of the past exist in the present. We nurture some kind of curiosity, means we have some kind of curiosity of doing something. For example, studying the past history in detail. Some historians have got that curiosity. Attraction towards them. They are attracted towards studying past history. We wish to know more about their history because they represent the creative thoughts and tradition of our ancestors. So, what our ancestors giving to us? You know what you mean by ancestors. So, we try to study the tradition, the thoughts of our ancestors. It is a heritage. Heritage means what? Something which is handed to us from past generation. It can be monuments, it can be your culture, it can be your object. That is called your heritage. It helps in building our identity, and this heritage it helps to build our identity. We know where we are. The history of our heritage links us with our origin. Hence, it becomes necessary to preserve and conserve it for future. So, what we have to preserve and what we have to conserve, we have to conserve our heritage, which will be useful in future for the benefit as well as for the benefit of future generation, not only for us but it will be helpful for future generation also. Applied history is concerned with the preservation and conservation of our heritage. So what applied history deals with? It deals with preservation and conservation. How we are going to preserve your natural monuments. How we are going to conserve means how we are going to take care of our heritage and make it accessible to people, and people can come and see our heritage. Heritage management creates opportunity of employment. So this heritage management can also create an opportunities of employment. For example, if some tourists come to our country of India and they want to study, uh, they want to study the study or go to Gateway of India. So we can become a guide and we can take them and we can tell them the importance of this Gateway of India. So what happens ultimately? It creates an opportunity for employment. In short, what it means that we should have the knowledge of our past history, and here you can apply your history over here. In brief, applied history can be described as understanding of a present with the help of history and finding right direction for the benefit of the future. So how we are going to use in the future. Now, management of cultural and natural heritage. Now let us see what you mean by cultural heritage. Cultural heritage. It is in the form of human creation. It is of two types, that is tangible and intangible. First, let us try to understand what you mean by cultural heritage. It means an expression of ways of living developed by a community and passed from generation to generation. That is a cultural heritage. Now, your cultural heritage can be have two types. One is tangible cultural heritage. Now, what you mean by tangible? Tangible means what? That something which you can touch, something which you can feel. That is called your tangible. This This type of cultural heritage include ancient site, your buildings, artifacts, manuscripts, sculptures, paintings. Means all these things, your olden types of buildings, your artifacts, your books, your painting, which you can touch, which you can feel. That is called your tangible heritage or tangible cultural heritage. And second type is your intangible cultural heritage. Intangible, just the opposite of tangible, which cannot be touched. Now, this type of cultural heritage includes the following things: oral traditions and their language. Oral tradition means what? What is been passed from generation to generation. Traditional knowledge, your past knowledge. Social customs and rituals of celebrating festival. Every caste, every community have got customs, have got festivals, and every people have got their different ways of celebrating the customs and festivals. Styles of performing arts, what arts are going to, whether it can be a dance, various forms of dance style, that is called styles of performing art. Certain traditional skills and certain skills, communities groups who represent such tradition, customs and skills. Now, let us come to second one, that is natural heritage. Now, what do you mean by natural heritage? We refers to natural features or natural beauty is called your natural heritage. The concept of natural heritage gives importance to thought of biodiversity. Bio means your surrounding, your environment. Diversity means what? Your differences. So, in your environment, you have got many differences. It includes the following things. Fauna. Now, what do you mean by fauna over here? Fauna means animal life. Flora. Flora means plant life. Ecology. Ecology means it is a branch of biology. Deals with the relationship and interaction between organisms and environment. That is called your ecology, which deals with the relation and interaction between organisms and environment. Organism means what over here? Your living thing. And geomorphic. Geomorphic means what? Natural features of the earth surface. So all these we study in our natural heritage, which is crucial. Crucial means what? Which is very important for sustaining the flora and fauna of a particular region. So every region has got different plant animal life, has got different plant life. So we have to study of the particular region. It is essential for the benefit of future generations to preserve our heritage. UNESCO, the global organization, has announced some directive with the objective of promoting cultural heritage. So this UNESCO declares what is going to be your natural heritage. On the basis of those directives, list of sites and tradition are declared as World Heritage. So the UNESCO declares which building or what is going to become an World Heritage. The list of UNESCO's World Natural Heritage can include Western Ghats, the Kars Plateau in the district Satara. It's also a part of Western Ghats. So all these things have been declared by UNESCO. See now, on your page, in your textbook, page number 18, they've given you all the different kinds of heritage heritage which is declared by the UNESCO. See from here, Indian tradition, okay, all that thing, then world cultural heritage, then you have got all this world, then world natural heritage site, all these things. So students, go through this. Now, in your textbook, come to page number 19. Now, see, cultural and natural heritage management is one of the main aspects of applied history. So, we understood what you mean by cultural and natural heritage, which is one of the important work in your applied history. The work of conservation and preservation of the cultural heritage falls under jurisdiction. Now, what do you mean by jurisdiction? To make legal decisions and judgment. That is called your jurisdiction of the Archaeological Survey of India and India's State Department of Archaeology besides. INTAC. Now, what is INTAC? That is Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage is actively working in this field. The work of conservation and preservation of cultural and natural heritage requires participation of experts from various fields. So those who are good in the study of cultural and natural heritage, we must try to participate and try to explain these concepts. The need to be duly aware of the cultural, social, and political history of the heritage site. So, not only collecting the information, but we should also have the knowledge of the culture of that particular heritage site, the social, the political history, and the heritage site. So, for all this thing, what is necessary? It is necessary to have the knowledge of history. Principles of applied history are useful in creating the awareness among them. Thus, the operation necessary for the conservation, preservation, and development of the heritage site can be handled without causing any change in its original site. So, when you want to preserve any heritage site, you should always remember that you should not disturb the original of the heritage site. The local structure and psychology of the local people. Psychology means the mind of the local people, challenges faced by them in the present situation, and the expectation can be surveyed in detail. So we should do a detailed study of any social structure without disturbing the human mind. Two precautions to be taken to avoid hurting sentiments. No, no, not a sentiment. Sentiment means what? Feelings should not be hurted. We should not hurt the feelings of the local people while completing the project of conservation and preservation and development of heritage sites. Participation of the local people in the project can be facilitated. So if you are going to a place of discovery, so you can take a help of local people also. Systematic plan can be designed to employ the local skills in creative way and create better opportunities of livelihood. So create a proper systematic study, try to employ there and get a better opportunities of livelihood. Now, affiliated professional fields. Now, professional fields means with the help of applied knowledge in which field you can work. That is called your professional field. Knowledge of history can be supportive in the decision making with regard to respective legal provisions and public policies in the following field. First is museums and archives. See, if you want to be a guide in any of the museum, first thing you should have a proper knowledge, a thorough knowledge of that museum, then only you'll able to explain to the tourists who come to visit that museum. Archive, is a collection or the knowledge of books which has been stored. Preservation and conservation of historical site. You should try to preserve and we should try to conserve the historical site. Tourism and hospitality. Okay, if any tourists come to a place, you should have a proper knowledge of the tourism and hospitality, giving them proper information. And next thing, entertainment and mass media. Okay, how you are going to preserve your mass media and how you are going to entertain your tourists. Now see in this box what I've given over here, the earliest museum, it was in 6th century BC in the world, were discovered during the excavation at the city of Ur. Ur is a place in Mesopotamia. The excavation, you know what you mean by excavation? The digging work which is carried over there were conducted by Sir Leonard Woolley. The museum was built by the princess of Mesopotamia. Her name was Enigildi. She herself was the curator of the museum. Curator means what? Who takes care of the museum, who looks after the museum. A noteworthy feature of that museum is the clay tablet inscribed with a description of exhibited artifacts. See that clay tablet picture is being shown over there. Turn the page. Come to your page, page number 20. Now see what is given over here, Indian Museum, that is in Kolkata. Now look over here, the Indian Museum at Kolkata was founded by the Asiatic Society in 1814 CE. Nathaniel Welchie, a Danish, he was a Danish botanist who studied about the plants, was the founder of the and the first curator of the museum, and he was the first caretaker of this museum. The photograph of the museum seen here is dated in 1905. So this picture is taken in the year 1905. The museum has three main departments, that is arts, archaeology and anthropology. Now what do you mean by anthropology? Study of man and his culture. Arts, paintings, drawings, and archaeology, some things which have been excavated and things have been kept over there. Other affiliated departments are conservation, publication, photography, exhibition presentation, model making, training, library, security, etc. So all these things are there. Now, every field mentioned here requires expert personnel with specialized skills. Suppose if you want to become a guide in any field, what you require specialized skill. For example, architects, engineers, historians, archaeologists, museums, curators, sociologists who are sociologists who try to study the society. They are called as sociologists. Archive management, professional, legal expert, skilled photographers. Skilled photographer means you should be a very qualified photographer, etc. Of course, this is just a representative list. The help of experts from many more fields is required. This expert needs to have adequate means what? Sufficient knowledge. You should have a proper knowledge of the ancient site. The historical background of the structure, remains, and artifacts. Projects in the field of applied history. Applied history can create various opportunities for this professional. So you can get many profession if you're good in this field of knowledge, in the field of history. That is why this chapter has been introduced. Applied history means how you are going to use your knowledge in the future. Now, in this lesson, we learned about the role of applied history in public training programs for understanding the importance of history, for creating social awareness regarding the conservation, preservation of our cultural and natural heritage. So, this lesson gives us information how we are going to preserve and conserve your natural heritage using knowledge of history. For this purpose, to enhance the professional skills, you can start earning uh, your living if you have got skills, uh, good skills of people, and to develop industrial commercial fields to carry out preparatory work and plans for effective implementation. Now, implementation of heritage projects. It is essential to provide vandalizing of historic and public places and to ensure that they are preserved for the benefit of future generations. This means whatever historical places we have, we should not try to destroy them. We should not write anything on the forts which are there or any historical places. We have to preserve and we have to keep. Now, see, archive, preserve, and store all documents, official records, all film, etc. We have seen what you mean by archive. Okay, it stores all your documents, official records, your films. National Archive of India is in Delhi. So where it is situated? It is situated in Delhi. Every state in India maintain its archive independently. So every state they try to maintain their archive. The main office of the Natural Film Archive of India is located in Pune, that is in Maharashtra. It was established in 1964 as a media unit of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting of Indian government. It served to search and obtain rare Indian films, some films which are very difficult to find them. So it's been kept over there at the heritage for the benefit of future generation and those who want to see this film which are very rare films. People can request and they can watch this film. The categories, the important aspect of films to create documentation and catalogs and carry on research in their field so we can study by looking at those films. To establish a center for dissemination of film culture. So anyone who's interested in the field of mass media, they can do the study of films and they can try to make their own films. So hope so students you have understood the lesson. I will mark the answers and I will send it to you. Okay, students? Thank you.